This is a really important question, especially for us girls and guys that come from similar backgrounds, of having a parent or parents that are closed minded because of cultural or religious beliefs. I think the main thing is that you have to understand that you are still your own person. We are starting to become very different than the generation that was from, before us. And it looks almost like disrespectful because we're speaking up for ourselves. I think attempting to set a boundary with a closed minded, cultured parent is extremely difficult. They don't always see it as a positive thing. Like I said, they see it as disrespect or they see it as they're losing control over you. But the most important thing to take away is that if your parents truly love you, like truly deep down love you and respect you as an individual, like your own person, this shouldn't be an issue. They should actually encourage you to have your own opinions. They should encourage you to have your own independence. The problem is that we are being raised in a completely different generation and our mindsets are shifting, and that's very hard for our parents to wrap their heads around because that's not how they were raised and that's not how they did things. So that's all they know and that's their norm. However, that's how we were raised and that's what we think, you know, is supposed to be norm, but we know it's not. Like we still have that advanced mindset that something is off, something is wrong, and we need to change it. So in my opinion, honestly, if this does drive away your parents, and as awful as it sounds, they were never on your side to begin with. They're not concerned with you as a person. They're concerned with themselves and their image and, the people around them. And we've talked about that because that's just how the culture works, right? And it's one of the hardest decisions you'll make. Trying to set a boundary with a parent is extremely difficult, and it's just not really heard of in our culture. But I think if you have a good relationship with your family, it should be an easier conversation to open up and explore without having to sound like defensive, like these are my boundaries, take it or leave it kind of thing. You don't need to come off so aggressive. I honestly think if you do have a good relationship with your family and you guys are able to sit down and talk about things, and there are some parents that are open to change. They're not used to it and they don't like it, but I think that there's a lot of parents that are starting to see the world change around them, and instead of closing off to the idea and potentially losing their kids or seeing their kids not reach their fullest potential, I think they're gonna slowly start getting on board. I think that they're slowly going to start trying to understand their children more because things are different now. And it's not going backwards, we're going forward. I think a lot of parents need to understand that, and life is about adapting, and that's what it is. We're adapting as human beings. You have to understand that respect goes both ways. But our parents that are more cultured and closed-minded, that's not really a thing. You don't respect the child, or it's just the parent that gets the respect. And of course that's not okay because we're all human. We all deserve respect, right? You give respect, you get respect. That's just how it goes. So honestly, if it does at the end of the day, still after you've tried everything and it still drives your parents away, the hard truth is that they never loved you for you. They just wanted to control you. You were a person that they created, so they still have to control and mold you and shape you, and you have to do exactly what they want because they are. And so if that is the case, as hard as it is, unfortunately they were never on your side to begin with. And it sucks to say that, but it's the truth. So I hope at the end of the day, the same way your parents are choosing themselves over you and their happiness over your happiness is exactly what you have to do with yourself. You have to choose yourself and your happiness. And I know in our culture it sounds absurd, but it's really not. It's a really good question and a very hard truth that follows it.